I'm getting Rhythm in right now. Rhythm.
In favor of the ED court, but right now.
Yeah. Deepak, 1 minute, please.
Arnab, I just want to
viewers,
also,
what you're seeing on the left-hand side are the
break
visuals of
down
Arvind Kejriwal being taken
news
out.
that's coming in right
Yes,
now. The
Rhythm.
Supreme Court is not going to have any urgent midnight hearing tonight, even though he's challenging his arrest by the Enforcement Directorate in the Delhi liquor policy case. The hearing is going to only happen on Friday. I also tried to have a word with his lawyers today, that is Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi's team that's going to be leading this charge in the Supreme Court tomorrow. They have tried to approach the registrar. In fact, we at Republic TV have also tried to speak to the registrar. And a few minutes ago, when we tried to speak to him, he said that till now, nothing had come forward before him. Now, the news that's coming in is that Supreme Court is not going to be giving any hearing in this case today. It's only going to be happening tomorrow. Like all of us have been discussing, this is of course with the Enforcement Directorate case, but as of now, no urgent midnight hearing, as was being speculated by Arvind Kejriwal's team in the top court of the country. And they've been trying to seek an urgent hearing. They even tried to apparently go to the registrar's house, but the registrar has not stated anything. It is at the discretion of the Chief Justice of India if any midnight hearing is given, and it's not going to happen tonight, only tomorrow. As per protocol, this case is going to be heard in the Supreme Court. Let's also update our viewers on why there is no occasion for a midnight hearing in this case. We remember it was even earlier when Manish Sisodia had been arrested last year around this time, but he's been denied bail in these cases. Now the matter is, how soon, once he approaches the Supreme Court, will the Supreme Court intervene? In such cases, even though a big hue and cry is being made by the Aam Aadmi Party, legally speaking, there are very rare chances that the Supreme Court will interfere in the powers of the Enforcement Directorate. This is also after the Supreme Court's judgment that has come. Justice Khanvilkar, the former Supreme Court judge, had given a judgment in the enforcement on the powers of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and the powers of the ED, which were making it the diktat very clear. When it comes to arrest, when it comes to summons, the ED has power, Arnab. That power cannot be taken away just because a hue and cry is being made by the Aam Aadmi Party.
Now, Rhythm, if this matter comes up in the Supreme Court tomorrow, the Supreme Court has always been emphasizing on due process. What can Arvind Kejriwal really expect here? If it is due process, then what really is the example which can be cited by their lawyers before the Supreme Court, and what's the history of how the court usually deals with cases like this?
Well, Arnab, in such cases, one has to understand he is challenging his arrest. If he's challenging his arrest, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing the case. They're going to be hearing the challenge also from the Enforcement Directorate. They're going to be seeing the behavior of the accused. And I want to remind our viewers, this is not just some ordinary person here. He's been named as the 32nd accused in the liquor scam case. If we actually see the sheer number of times Arvind Kejriwal has been summoned and he's not come to the Enforcement Directorate's offices, it's 9. Today was the 9th time. Raids have been conducted in this particular case in 245 locations across India. When we talk about the liquor scam case, Arnab, when we've been hearing and seeing the 6 charge sheets filed in this case, it's a very serious case. We at Republic TV have been debating it for the longest time. If I can also just take our viewers towards what really is the case, because this is not just some random arrest or a political move that has been made, but an arrest that has been made after very, very crucial details that come out in the liquor scam case, which have people who were very close to Arvind Kejriwal being named here. There was a person called Vijay Nair. The ED had long ago stated that Vijay Nair had that 100 crore rupees kickbacks had been paid in advance to Vijay Nair, who was the Aam Aadmi Party's communication in charge. There were also Sisodia's former secretary who spilled the beans and who gave lots of details into 2022 in December to the Enforcement Directorate. What is the ED now saying? The ED says a conspiracy has been hatched by political leaders that includes Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, and now K. Kavita, who was arrested last week in this case. He's, of course, the most high-profile person to be arrested, but it takes time for an investigation to continue and to come to terms with. This case is really pertaining to money laundering charges, which the Delhi government's excise policy of 2021-22 has spoken about. They had also claimed Aam Aadmi Party received kickbacks. They also spoke about 100 crore rupees kickbacks in the excise policy. His name had not been mentioned earlier, but in multiple charge sheets, Kejriwal's name came, and finally it was him who was named as the 32nd accused. Arnab, even as we're speaking about this, dramatic visuals on the screen which are clearly showing the Aam Aadmi Party is going to try and derive as much political mileage as they can today, because there will be protests that continue to be held. The legal team is going to try and go to the registrar's office, but the word from the Supreme Court is clear. No midnight hearing in such a case. It's only tomorrow that the case will be heard. If I can actually tell our viewers once again what's been happening in the case, there was also the 45 crore rupees bribe that had been spoken about for the Goa Assembly elections. This is also something mentioned in one of the 6 charge sheets that had been filed by the Enforcement Directorate in this case. The Financial Crimes Probe Agency had also stated that there were several individuals, including parliamentarians, who will be in this case. We also, of course, know Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh are currently lodged in Tihar jail in the very same case. The liquor scam case is clearly something now that's going to be haunting the Aam Aadmi Party, and they have a lot of evidence with them when they say this. In fact, in one of the charge sheets, the ED has also pegged the losses at 2,873 crore rupees. So, Arnab, when we're talking about this kind of a motivated, illegal money laundering case, in proceeds of crime case, as the ED has stated, one has to be very clear, they have immense evidence before them. In fact, in some of the charge sheets that I had also gone through, it was very clear.
They have immense evidence.
Kept cropping up. Yes. So, there was also the South group that was comprising of businessman Sarath Reddy. There was also Magunta Srinivasu Reddy, who were a part of that. I remember reading, and K. Kavita. It was stated that in Delhi, under 9 zones out of 32 in Delhi, under the new excise policy, there was an extraordinarily high 12% profit margin for wholesalers and almost 185% margin that had been given for retailers. 6% of the 12% margin was to be collected back for the wholesalers as kickback. This is about proceeds of crime. This is about kickback. I'm going to simplify this for the viewers because, like I said, we need to understand the liquor scam is something we've been debating for the past 2 years. It's not suddenly arisen. Kejriwal's arrest was imminent. Today, he's been named as the 32nd accused. There are 6 huge charge sheets in this case. There are people who've been arrested. There are people who've spilled the beans. In fact, people who are close to them who've spilled the beans and have spoken about it. This policy that had started, the Delhi excise policy, was later scrapped. The agency had alleged that accused were in touch with Kejriwal for formulating the excise policy. He skipped summons. The ED also claimed that there was a conspiracy. I also want to tell our viewers here about, like I said, Vijay Nair, one of the key people who was earlier arrested, 100 crore rupees kickback that was spoken about earlier. It was said he was managing the scheme and was conspiracy on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party.